Dear future me, long time no see, buddy. So this is my first talking video that I've recorded in probably a little over a month now. The last talking video that I uploaded, honestly, I recorded quite a while ago. So yeah, it feels a bit refreshing to be back to the talking videos, but I guess I just honestly didn't have a lot to talk about, or like I wasn't feeling super inspired to talk, so I didn't force myself. And I think as I've gained experience doing this content thing, I've kind of learned to like let myself go through these phases and understand that they're phases and not beat myself up over it. There's really no reason to. This creative thing for me is an outlet. I'm gonna go with the flow. I'm gonna do what I feel, and there's no reason to feel bad about not doing one type of content. So yeah, be kind to yourself, future me, and I am kind to myself, and I just want to acknowledge that. So good job to me, great job. I just wanted to kind of also reflect a little bit. It's really interesting. When I started thinking about recording this video, I realized like when I first started recording these videos, I had so much conviction in what I was saying, and I was talking off the cuff, and I was so passionate about it, and I feel like I was just like able to rattle off things so easily. And you know, when I think about it now, I think that was because I had so much pent up insight and like so much pent up energy around these topics that they've just been like going through my head for so much longer than I had realized. These are thoughts that I've probably carried on for who knows, months, years, I don't know, but that's why I was able to like rattle off some of the points so eloquently and like clearly, because it wasn't my first time thinking about it. It wasn't like I was speaking off the cuff. I basically was reciting things that I had internally already understood and like thought about. And so I think the reason I kind of bring this up is because when I was thinking about recording this video and the topics that I'd talk about, my initial reaction for a split second was like kind of judging myself, like, yo, why am I having trouble coming up with things to talk about? Like, it was so easy at first for the first few videos. And I realized it's because like, oh, like I freaking was overloaded with topics to talk about. And those first few videos released all the pressure. I had so much built up pressure, not pressure in the literal sense, but like I had so many things I wanted to talk about. My head was just totally full of it that I just had to let it out. And so, yeah, I think that's why it came so easily. Now that I've had some sort of regular cadence to like talk about these things and like get these feelings out of my head, they don't come as extreme, I guess. They're not as like in your face, like, wow, like I need to let this out. I need to say it and tell the whole world, and I need to sound so passionate about it. Like I still do have passion in what I'm saying, and I do have conviction in what I'm saying, and I believe in it, but it's not the same energy and excitement that I had in, okay, I shouldn't say excitement, that's a terrible word. Basically, all I'm saying is that I was pretty like adamant on like getting the message out there at first, and I was very like spirited and like energetic, and now I'm kind of more chill about it. I want to say one thing too, I'm really proud of myself for. I've been kind of adapting my creation to my skill level. So what I mean by that is obviously in the beginning, I like didn't know how to edit. And so I kind of indexed on making sure my delivery was perfect the first time so that I would have minimal editing. But now that I'm pretty comfortable editing videos, I have no hesitations to like pause, to stop, compose myself, and like think about what I'm gonna say next, because I know like, okay, I'll just fix it in editing. And honestly, this thing that I'm telling you right now, I just fucking recited it like 3 times. I stumbled on my words literally fucking 3 times in a row. And this take that you're seeing right now, I fucking edited the shit out of it. So yeah, it's fine. I'm constantly evolving, and it's really cool to see actually. It's very inspiring to see because it just shows growth, and it shows that I am like rolling with the punches. Great job, me. Keep it up. Keep doing that. Now into the meat of what I wanted to talk about today. I've been living life, and I've just been kind of analyzing things that I've been experiencing in these past few weeks, months, and I just want to remind myself. So the first one being, don't make yourself small to make others feel better. So what I mean by that is in the past, I would try to kind of hide my successes, or like I wouldn't disclose the full thing for fear of like making someone else feel less than. Like, okay, here's the thing. I'm not gonna go around gloating and shit like that. I'm not gonna go around and be like, oh, I make so much money. Oh, I do this, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I'm so good at this, blah, blah, blah. Gloating is one thing, but saying facts is another. And I used to literally like hold back on saying facts because I was like scared of making someone else feel self-conscious, or making someone else feel less than, or making them feel insecure. Like that's just actually crazy. Like it wasn't stuff like, oh, I make this much money, or like I bought this thing or whatever. Think of it this way. I'll use an analogy. I have black hair, right? Like it was the type of shit where I like wouldn't acknowledge that I have black hair for fear of making this person with blonde hair feel insecure or feel like less than. You know, like that's silly. That's fucking, it is what it is. I have black hair. I can't change that. I literally, that's just what it is. And the thing is, like past me probably would have made this mistake, but you know, now looking back on it, I feel like things like that are silly. Like Like I should feel assured in myself that like it is what it is. If somebody gets jealous because I'm expressing my truths, I'm sorry, but like that's not my problem. I'm so sorry, but like you need to work on yourself and you need to like work through your triggers, because I'm not gonna like lie just to make you feel better. Like, I'm sorry, that's not my problem. I've worked through plenty of my problems. Like you can do the same. I shouldn't have to baby you and like hold back from like what I really am to make you feel better. Like, I'm sorry, that's not my responsibility. Like, I definitely understand now that a lot of people do things for a reason, and that reason's not always very visible on the surface. Even if you dig deeper, like people may just keep these things hidden deep inside of them and you'll never know, but it helps me sleep at night to believe that these people are doing things for a reason that makes sense in their mind. Does that make sense? Like, these people that do things you don't agree with have some sort of logic in their brain. They have some math or calculation in their brain. To them, it makes sense. Even if I don't see it, even if I don't understand it, maybe it's impossible for them to explain. And this, again, like I said, I'm not saying this is the factual thing. This is how I view it, so that it helps me stay sane, so that it helps me give people the benefit of the doubt, right? Like, even if something is super illogical, I will give them the benefit of the doubt that in their brain it makes sense, and that's why they're doing it. Right? Because I feel like people don't want to be adversarial to others. At least I like to believe. I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt that what they're doing is their truth. For example, like someone who's high on drugs sees the walls like melting and shit, that's their reality. That's how they see it. I know from my point of view that the wall's not melting, but to them in their brain, it is melting. And so, you know, there's nothing I can say to change that for them. So I kind of feel like that was a weird comparison, honestly. I don't want to bring drugs in this, but like that is kind of how I see it, honestly. Like, I don't judge people if I think what they're doing doesn't make sense, or I think what they're doing isn't rational or like is unreasonable. I've grown as a person to where I can now look at what they're doing and think to myself, okay, in their mind, that makes sense. Even though to me, that's not the right thing. You know, who knows? I could be wrong, honestly. But the point being, don't judge people. And I already know this. Again, I'm not telling myself this, like I know this, I'm saying it to put it on the record. When it comes to even my first point, right? Like when I said like, don't make myself small to make others feel less insecure. They feel insecure for a reason. Like, I personally don't agree with why they're feeling that way, but I respect it. You know, like in their brain, they have their reasons to feel that way. And so I empathize with them, I respect them. But at the same time though, I'm not gonna let that control my feelings. Like, I'm not going to totally baby someone if what they're thinking is irrational and it's affecting me in a negative way. I'm gonna speak up about it. Anyways, I'm not trying to offend anybody here, and I'm not speaking about anybody in particular. These are just like random little scenarios that I've kind of seen in my life. Okay, moving on to my next point. This is getting more into the creativity side of things and the creator side of things. I know this, I've repeated this so many times by now. Seeing the likes, seeing the comments and the follows and whatnot is very nice. But remember future me, do not fall into the trap again of doing content for others, okay? And look, I know you've been doing a great job. You've been doing a great job, buddy. Past me, you've been doing good. Okay, just a reminder, gentle reminder, because it's very, very, very tempting to fall into that once you start getting some more traction. Like, I've been getting a lot more traction recently. Do not fall into that trap again, future me, okay? Just remember, you're doing this for yourself, okay? Because that is what will sustain you, right? You can't ride the highs too high, you can't ride the lows too low. Just try your best, stay in the middle. I know I'm human, like I'm not perfect, you're not gonna be perfect all the time, but just remember, gentle reminder for myself, okay? Stay true to yourself, do content that you like, don't do it for others, okay? With that being said, I'm feeling very reassured in my content recently. I feel like I've been doing such good content that I would personally watch, and I'm feeling really proud about it, and I really believe in it. I think that is the way to go. I tend not to work on things that I don't believe in. And some people may argue like, oh, you gotta get your 100 reps in, you gotta keep doing it, you gotta keep cranking them out. And I'm like, yes, I understand that mindset, but at the same time, if you're spending your time making mediocre shit, like what's the point? Like, yeah, you can make mediocre shit, but you could also spend your time making things that are good. And that's the thing. I'm not saying like I never run with mediocre shit. Like, I tried in the beginning, but once I realized this isn't going anywhere, I don't hesitate to fucking drop it and move on to the next thing. I think that's the key right there. People keep saying, you gotta get your 100 reps in, you gotta make a bunch of 100 shitty videos to like get to good ones. It's like, okay, yes. But the thing is, I think my mindset is like, when I'm making those first 100 shitty videos, at the time, I think they're dope because I feel like I'm reaching to the extent of my capabilities. I'm doing the best I can at the time. And that's what makes it shitty, because my capacity for what I'm capable of is shitty at that time, not because I'm dropping my standards to make something subpar or ass. You know what I mean? Like, that's the part that pisses me off. Like, nobody talks about the nuances of that, right? They say all those buzzwords. You gotta get your first 100 reps in. Okay, but like, if you're making fucking shit that you don't actually think is good, what the fuck does that tell yourself? That tells yourself that you have low standards and that you're making shitty videos and that you're a shitty creator, right? And then if you believe in the shit and if you start to like mind trick yourself into like, oh yeah, I'm actually making good videos, when you know you put little effort in, when you know you could have spent more time on making a better video, what does that teach yourself? That teaches yourself that you can be lazy and drop your standards. And like, you're being delusional at that point. If you know you can do better, why don't you just do better? I will say, using my internal gauge of what I think is good has not led me astray so far. Like, all the videos that I put out, I really believe in. I think they're quality. I like them. I personally think they're good. And I think the results will speak for themselves eventually. Like, I'm still really small here, but I really think this is the right thing to do, because real recognize real. Good music speaks, good content speaks. I truly believe in that. And so I think if I keep doing the right thing, it's just a matter of time that it'll get in front of the right people and it's gonna snowball, you know? That's the thing. I think I'm so early on, I just don't have a lot of snow, so I'm just like a tiny little snowball. But I think if I keep doing the right thing, I'm gonna keep growing and growing and growing, and it's gonna exponentially grow. So one last thing, on the topic of being a perfectionist and having a high standard, okay? I feel like when it comes to making videos on YouTube, there's a little bit more wiggle room, right? Like, I can make a hitter video and then I can make like a subpar video. That's okay. You know, that the standards for videos is like meh. Because when I'm watching videos, sometimes I'm dialed in and I'm actually focusing and watching it. Other times I'm kind of having it play in the background while doing something else. So I feel like for me personally, my standards for videos are not as strict as like, say, music. So for me, music, the bar is super high in my mind. In my mind, if you make only good songs, you're gonna stick out. Honestly, you know, I'm not saying that's gonna for sure set you off to be successful, but like, I think about artists where sometimes they release hits and sometimes they release ass. And I'm not as passionate about that personally, so I take in my own analysis of these musicians to how I wanna approach making music. And so for me, I feel like I have a lot more chances to connect with an artist if they're just releasing hit after hit after hit. Obviously, there's exceptions to this. Some of my favorite artists have released shitty songs, obviously, but I think that's the thing. Like, I don't want that to become a practice where I'm just like releasing subpar music. I feel like you have a lot better chance of getting those super fans if you're just serving up the cream of the crop. You're just releasing the best songs that you have. And I will say, even that thought process is something that I've learned too. The thoughts that I have are not unique. Everything that I've encountered in music, in creativity, in life in general, everyone else has probably experienced that at some point or something similar. And so that's why I've like learned to trust myself a lot more, and I've learned to trust my intuition. I learned to trust my thoughts a lot more, because there's a lot of weight to it. Like, a lot of things that I experienced are things that other people have experienced too. And actually what made me realize that recently is I've seen people open up about really personal things that like you typically wouldn't share online. And I'm like, oh shit, like that's some real shit. And like, it's so niche too. The fact that they experienced it, I'm like, dude, it's very common. Like, a lot of these things are so common. The human experience is like not all that unique, I feel. There's like so much overlap between so many people's lives. It's hard to come up with a unique thought, honestly. Okay, I'm getting so delusional. It is like 4:15 a.m. right now. I drank some tea and I was hanging out with friends earlier. That's why I'm still awake making this video. But anyways, I think I'm gonna leave it there. Feature me. Have a great morning, afternoon, night, wherever you are in the world. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful to you. And I'll catch you next time.